Hey guys, this is just a short and rough video to show you a little bit what it's like to live in a tiny teardrop trailer. I may post a more polished walkthrough sometime later on. So I've posted a few times in some groups that I'm living full-time in my NuCamp tag, and nearly everyone says that I'm living the good life. That's what they want to do sometime in the future. Well, I figured I'd put the brakes on that for you. Now, you may be watching a lot of those van life YouTube videos and Instagram feeds and thinking how awesome it would be to live and work on the road. Sure, it works out for a lot of those guys. I mean, if I was a creative type and I could come up with daily content and make it look good every day, maybe I could quit my job and hit the road. But I'm not like that, at least not yet. And I don't really plan to go that way. No, I work in a sticks and bricks daily grind for the most part, which means I'm stuck right here. So I teach. Sometimes I do some work and studying at home, but otherwise I don't really have anywhere to go. So unless you're ready to completely change your life, if you want to live like me, this is what you're looking forward to. So things that you can do for living in a teardrop trailer. Keep in mind, I live in Southeast Texas, so this tends to be a hot, humid climate. It's a subtropical climate, basically. So I just came out of a winter. It was one of the harshest winters ever. I did have to leave the trailer for a week when we had our ice storm here in Texas. But from talking to the park manager, it sounds like I probably could have stayed in the trailer. We didn't lose electricity here. We're not on the same grid as the majority of the state. And so one thing you'll want for winter, if your teardrop's as small as mine, I don't have built-in heat. So I picked up one of these InstaHeaters. InstaHeater is the name. It plugs into a wall outlet and just sticks there. And the nice thing is, because we don't always get to choose whether our outlets are upside down or what I consider right side up, this one does swivel and lock in place. So I have a spot that when it's really cold and I need it on overnight, I'll plug it up over here, which is kind of a corner off the ground. I can make sure there's nothing around it, and it's somewhat safe, I suppose. And then during the day, I plug it down lower. It's closer to my bed, but so I don't leave it there when I'm leaving or something like that. But if I'm sitting up doing work, that works. Also, I have a built-in air conditioner, so when it does get warm, I can kick that on, and it does keep it cool. We've gotten I think so far this year we've gotten close to 90, maybe very, very low 90s. Certainly when the sun's beating down on the trailer, it does get hot, so it's been keeping up. I have no complaints with that. The bad thing is this trailer is so small that as the humidity gets high outside, it's going to get high in here. There's no way to, unless I were to buy a dehumidifier and somehow I guess, drill a hole and pipe it outside, which may be something I could do in the future. I'm not saying that I couldn't do that, but I don't want to make a permanent addition like that right now. Plus, it's, it'd be running 24 hours a day. I think it's better just to deal with the humidity. But for the most part, when it does get humid, I just run my ceiling fan a lot more. I have it turned off right now. And no matter how wet it gets, as long as I'm moving air through the trailer, it seems to keep it mostly from accumulating. Now there were a couple of days when it was super humid and cold outside, and I would get some moisture buildup on, mostly at night, on the doorway next to where I sleep. It sometimes builds up inside the windows when it's cold like that. But next day, I just crack the window, open up my vent more, make sure that I'm venting out, and it dries out in like an hour. I haven't had any that I've found. I haven't had any permanent long-term moisture buildup, so that's good. I even slept on the factory mattress throughout that winter. I've had no mildew, no mold, at least nowhere visible. If it's hidden inside a wall or something, I wouldn't know. But I don't think this trailer really has that much space inside. I think it's all foam throughout inside the walls. So yeah, even with AC and heat, it does get muggy. So very early on, I made sure to get a temperature monitor, one of those battery operated ones you can get Walmart or wherever. And it also monitors the humidity, and so far it's maxed out in the last, I think it's 12 hours that this updates. It's maxed out at 90%. It got as low as 71%. That might have been when I was running the air conditioner last night before the temperature got low. And if you have a tag, there's like almost no metal in this trailer, so there's really nowhere to mount this thing. Even the doors, not enough metal around them, so I tend to just mount it on my speaker, and when I look at it, I just have to lean over. No biggie. Something else you'll need if you're gonna full-time is some way to shower and use the restroom. So I got fortunate, and we have a local trailer park here that has a shower facility, restrooms and all that stuff. It's also fairly cheap rent, and they don't mind a teardrop trailer. They thought it was awesome. They don't get too many of them here in this park. It's kind of out of the way in one of the older parts of town, I guess. Certainly not a tourist attraction area. They tend to cater to the people who are passing through working, and snowbirds, I suppose, who know about the place. And so far the restrooms haven't been in the best of shape. I got my trailer, I think, in November, and for this part of Texas, it's still pretty warm in early November. And the air conditioning was out in the restrooms. One of the restrooms, the vent in the ceiling went out not long after, and it's the best restroom. The other one has a messed up shower head. The shower head works, but it doesn't have as much flow, is the best way I can describe it. So Getting showered in the morning before work, it would just be fogged up, 100% humidity, and so if you've ever gotten dressed in that, your clothes just stick to you. It wasn't very pleasant, but it did the job. Cool thing is, going into this summer, they've repaired the air conditioning. The vents are working. Hopefully it stays like that all summer. It's been very pleasant. They keep it at 72 in the restrooms, which is perfect. Now, I've found that it's a good idea to have a backup solution for using the restroom. Several times we've gotten heavy rains, and this town has problems with their infrastructure. So if it rains too much, things don't drain, and there's some issues where the floodwaters are getting into the sewer lines, not just in this park, but it's like whole neighborhoods. We had to stick some bricks on the other side of town, and we had the same problem there. So if it was a flooding rain, sometimes we'd go days without being able to flush a toilet. And so I learned to keep a bucket. I got one of those buckets that you can get a toilet seat to put on. Buckets, bags, and then one of these, which are good to have for an emergency anyway. You know, there are those mornings where I drank a little too much the previous night, and it's more comfortable just to do the business right here. So it's not the most pleasant thing, right? It's not the most comfortable thing. Also, as far as food, I'm probably going to get another temperature monitor to put in my rear kitchen. My kitchen's on the outside, so I got a hatch. I guess it's more properly called a galley. And I'm going to monitor how hot it gets during the summer. I suspect I'm probably not going to keep much food back there as far as dry goods. And then I've got a shelf here and on the opposite corner over there where I can keep snacks and other dry goods if I need to. But other than that, I don't tend to cook much. It's just me. So mostly I've been eating out for a majority of my meals. I'll probably keep some breakfast items and some lunch items, but that's about it. For big meals, I'll go eat out somewhere. And as far as keeping things cold, I do have a compressor cooler. I don't have a freezer. I bought the cheapest on the market. I did that last summer, maybe last spring, when I started camping out more. When I'd go camping, the first couple of times I didn't have any cold storage. And as it got hot, I decided, you know what, I really need something cold. I hate lugging around ice. I buy ice, that my stuff gets wet. I've had times where it would, Ziploc bag wouldn't be sealed just right, or get a little tiny hole, and then my hot dogs would get ruined and stuff like that. So, or not ruined, but get contaminated. I'm picky about stuff like that. So I invested in the cheapest cooler I could find that was also somewhat large. I think it was called an Alpi-Cool. I've read mixed reviews. Some people complained that they weren't working on arrival and stuff like that. I figured it was mostly shipping issues. So I took the leap, ordered an Alpi-Cool. I think it's the 15, and I've been using it almost a year straight, running nonstop. Even when I wasn't directly using it at home, I kept it plugged in. Just because I figure as often as I was going camping, it was better just to keep it cold than to have long cooling cycles. Um, every couple of weeks, I guess. And then now that I'm here, yeah, it stays on constantly. I haven't had any problems with it. Everything stays cold. It turns out I don't use it as much as I thought I would. I'm just basically using it for drinks right now. I do have some jelly. Occasionally I'll put a couple of eggs in there for when I want to cook some breakfast. Things like that. Milk. I figure I'll get to use it more this summer. I do wish I have a freezer. They do have compressor coolers that can do both. I suppose for one my size that will fit in this trailer, I probably have one with a barrier, and I think some of them you can adjust both sides of that barrier. Others are designed so that it mostly cools the freezer part, and then it, I guess, spills over to the cooler part. I don't know. I figure as much as I run mine, I would not be surprised, since it is a really cheap cooler. It might not last the summer, so maybe by the end of the summer I'll be upgrading. I got extra storage because there's really no storage to speak of. I have some storage that's under my floor that I can access, so I'll put things away that I don't need for a long time. I plan on putting my winter clothes in there. I don't have a whole lot that I really need to put away. At some point I'm going to reorganize before I do any kind of walkthrough video, and I'm sure I'll have more stuff to put under there, tools, that kind of stuff. And then I also got a 3-compartment shelf, storage bin. I feel like it's too big for this trailer, and I might be downgrading that this summer. I just need to figure out how much storage I really need. I have filled it up, but I may be able to minimize my clothes a little bit. Things like these shirts here are great for the winter, but I'm obviously not going to need it as much for the summer. So these take up a lot of room. I'm thinking I may trade these in for a lighter shirt for even in the winter, and then I can just keep my hoodie on more often, and that way they fold up and collapse smaller. But we'll see. I may also have to get one of those some of those vacuum bags for storing clothes. So that's ways I can save space. And I'm thinking about finding some shelving that maybe takes up half the room, if I can find it. And if you decide to live in a teardrop, be prepared to be messy. First couple of weeks that I lived in it, I kept it really tight, straight, but cleaning every single day, crawling around in here, trying to keep things organized, it gets old fast. Eventually you're just like, it's an easy reach. That's all I need. And so I got pens, I got tape measure. I keep this tape measure out because I'm always measuring things to see how can I fit things better. I ordered a new desk. First thing I did was, how big a desk do I need, and how tall, and will this thing fit? How wide is that? Same thing when I upgraded my mattress. I had to make sure it was going to fit. Dude wipes, basically some kind of baby wipes kind of thing. Moisture towels, good to keep handy. This one's, I pretty much used it up. It took me months to go through a package. You don't use them that often, but it's nice to wipe down once in a while when you first wake up. And I got a few batteries here and there, coins. So that's some of that stuff I need to clean up. Finally, like I said, I do some work in here, so I do have laptops. I started out with a Chromebook, and a Chromebook got me through several years of working on the road. I love to go to coffee shops, sit at the park, that kind of thing. I got pretty messed up with my routines with the pandemic, but for the most part, Chromebook did me good. Where it failed was with the pandemic. Initially, I was staying with my mom for a while, and so I had a desktop that I worked remotely through the spring, summer, and first part of the fall. Well, we went back to campus during the fall, but working from home, it got me through. But when I moved into this trailer, the park Wi-Fi tends to fail once everybody wakes up and starts watching videos and doing whatever they do. I suspect there may even be some people torrenting files, which is horrible on a network like this. So it gets unusable for most of the day. So what I do is use my cell phone internet. But there's periods of time when that fails too, when more people in the, neighborhood start using it. So it got to the point that I couldn't get any real work done. Chromebook's really a cloud device. I would remote into the desktop at my mom's to be able to get work done. And when I couldn't do that, I didn't have access to the information I needed. I couldn't record feedback for my students. Working with my files, all the files were on cloud, so I couldn't always access those. So I finally upgraded to a more modern laptop. It's a little bit bigger than a Chromebook, but while I like to keep things small, this is one thing I had to do. It's not the biggest laptop, and it's light, so it works for me. To solve the internet, I signed up for the Starlink beta. So far, most of the reviews I've seen on Starlink have been very positive. I'm not sure how much bandwidth I'd be able to use on Starlink, but between the park Wi-Fi and Starlink and my cell phone, I think I'll do okay. I think that'll keep me going through anything I need. And as far as daily entertainment, I do have an antenna so I can receive television signals. It's not the greatest antenna, one of those little $5 Walmart specials, and that's something I intend to upgrade eventually. But I can't get a big antenna like I see some of these RVs have that mount or set up on the ground and have a pole that goes up. I probably could do something like that. I do have a roof rack thing, but thinking I'll get something small. I really don't watch local broadcasts that much, and I do listen to a lot of AM radio, and I'm going to have to eventually get me a small radio to set up in here, because for some reason every RV out there seems to have a sucky AM radio. And mine's no different. I can pick up one station clearly, which is, I think, a religious station. It's one I don't listen to. And I can barely make out the station I do want. So it's not going to work for me. FM radio works fine. I think that I've covered all the big things. So overall, summary would be, this is working for me. I didn't have a lot of things to give away, sell, or store when I started out. We recently went through a couple of floods, and the first big flood Hurricane Harvey, which really was a tropical storm when it came through here that just sat on top of us. I lost almost everything in that flood. And then I managed to keep all my belongings small. I didn't want to collect a lot of things. I did pick up some stuff that I just basically, left in my old room at my mom's. But as far as clothes, toys, big boy toys and that kind of stuff, I didn't have a whole lot. Just camping equipment that stays in the shed. So I was able to squeeze in to this trailer without too much of a problem. So those of you who have like established labs and you've collected things for 20, 30, 40 years, you're going to have to do something with all that stuff if you really do want to sell your home and move into a teardrop. So again, not for everybody. If you're attached to your things, you're not going to survive. The other thing would be 2 people couldn't do this. Not in a NuCamp tag. Okay. Well, sorry about that. Battery got too hot, or the phone did. So it stopped recording for a second there. As I was saying, so this setup would not be appropriate for for a couple. This works for a single person with very little stuff who doesn't mind some discomfort to save some money in the long run. I financed mine, so I'm going to be living like this for a while at least. If you're a couple, though, you might look into a NuCamp Tab 400. They even have a model that has a built-in wet bath. You might look into a small travel trailer. Of course, I live in a mobile home park. It's not even a mobile home, it's a travel trailer type park. These are all RV park, I guess. But I would like to get out and travel this summer. But here's the thing. What kind of tow vehicle? Well, I have a Ford Fiesta, which in the United States is not recommended to tow. I had to attach a third-party tow ball and all that stuff, which thankfully my car can do. It's the same model they sell in Europe, I believe, and those are rated to tow, but what do they call it? Class 1. I have a Class 1 hitch. That's the word, I couldn't think of it. Class 1 hitch, which means this camper is literally the heaviest thing I can tow. And this is one of the lighter campers. So keep that in mind. In my case, I don't want to go very far, very often. The type of transmission it has, it thankfully can handle towing to a degree, but I don't want to push it either. So if you do so basically I won't be driving all over Texas or out to California or anything like that. I might make a few trips for a vacation, and that's it. I'm back here. Eventually I do want to get more into a van style life, and I'm still debating on whether to get an actual van or a heavier tow vehicle and a bigger trailer, but we'll see. So that's it. I just wanted to kind of put that out there, right? For me, I'm loving it. I love minimal living. I love the challenge of it. It's somewhat invigorating. So it's part hobby, part necessity, I guess. but mostly it's a hobby for me. You know, that's another thing. I don't get very many visitors. I don't have a whole lot of friends that I socialize with, so I'm just not a very social person. So, you know, as a loner, yeah, this works. Will it be something I do for the rest of my life? I don't know. Maybe. For those of you who are like, that's the life, that's the way I want to live and all that, think hard before jumping in. Research it, because it may not be for you. If you require a large living space to have a lot of friends over, you can't do this. If you have lots of entertainment stuff, you won't be able to have room for it all. So it's recommended that if you want to give it a try, go rent a trailer. It may seem expensive, but think about it. If you're buying something like this brand new, you're going to spend $20,000. So do the short-term investment of try it out for a month. Rent something, take it out a few times, see if that lifestyle will be compatible for you. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to share them in the comment section. I don't think I'll be posting a lot of these, at least not anytime soon, but we'll hopefully have a walkthrough where you can see exactly what's going on. Right now, everything's too messy. I'm horrible at filming, so it's something that I'll probably do this summer when I have more time. That's it. Have a great one.